Yes, sir.
The Cavs have led at halftime in those 3 games that they lost in a row at the moment we speak right now. Those are the things that I think they need to look into.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they need to get better at. I think I mentioned the rotations, Booby. Also, the long ball hasn't really been falling the way it has been.
Yeah.
We've been the number 1 almost in. But also, you can tell how different a team the Cavs are when the bench gets outscored by the opponent, which happens in Sacramento, and that's part of the Garland missing, so somebody comes off the bench, and that whole rotation goes Orion. And do you think that's something that at least something to work on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was listening to Coach Kenny the other night, and he made a great statement. He said there's a sweet science to peaking at the end of the season. And, Kenny is a mad scientist. And so when I think about the rotations coming down the stretch, we've talked about how deep this team is and the team that we want to be going into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see the sweet spot that he figures out for these rotations. Like last night, he went with Dean Wade to start to keep DeAndre Hunter and Jerome coming off of the bench, so that we still had that some firepower coming off of the bench. But to your point, with sitting guys, rhythm starts to become an issue for the starting group and for the bench. And so I think that Kenny and that staff is going to have to toe that line of resting guys and making sure guys are healthy, because that's a part of the sweet science. A part of the science is also luck. The defense, again, what you said to the three-point line, is going to have to pick up. And, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we either rev it up a bit going into the playoffs and the guys start to potentially play their minutes. Because in a way, I also want to see Spider get some of those minutes, and I feel like what he'll be required to do come playoff time. So when you think about being ahead at halftime and teams making a push, those are the moments where we'll look to Spider to take over games in those moments. So I think that right now, these are great tests for us. Great tests for us to start building that rhythm and putting guys in the positions that they'll be in during the postseason.
And I think that's the most important part. That part, and also because you're giving a Sam Merrill or a Dean Wade a chance to be in moments that you might need him at.
Absolutely.
In the playoff. I know what you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure Kenny Atkinson has a map and a plan that how he's going to bring it up in the playoff. And obviously, when you need Donovan Mitchell on the court, you're going to throw him out there. But things happen during a game or during a series, injuries, foul trouble. So you need to have, and I think that's when the Cavs are in the best position, Sam, when you have these guys ready, when a Sam Merrill has been there and done that during the season, that's when you have to be ready. Now, when you evaluate the 3 losses, one of them against Orlando, for example, how do I explain, and I need your help because you're a man that is well-versed with the English language.
I hope so.
And actually can put thoughts together because you are great writers. How do you explain to our fans that are kind of jumping off the X window and everything, that a regular season matchup means, for the most part, actually nothing, except especially that loss to Orlando cannot be used to equate it into, oh my God, if we go into a series, because there's 2 different teams right now that played that 7-game series last season.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. The Cavs went to Orlando a couple weeks ago and won by 40 points, right? So, I think that there's just some. You have to look at it. Every game's different. It's not a matchup in terms of a playoff matchup because, as we all know, the playoffs are a different beast. So, you look at that game against the loss to Orlando, the Cavs just didn't have it that day. They weren't making shots. They had just won, a couple nights earlier, went into Memphis, which at the time was the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, and won there. So I just think that they, when you win 16 in a row for the set, well, you won 15 in a row, 12 in a row, then 16 in a row. This is the NBA. You're allowed a couple losses here and there. This is not a playoff situation. You've pretty much wrapped up the Eastern Conference if you're the Cavs with the number 1 seed. So, right now, and Evan Mobley admitted this after the loss last night, where he said, some guys probably, including myself, have one eye on the playoffs right now, and that's we can't get there yet. but that's probably the reality of the situation.
Yeah,
I can see the fans on X right now sitting on the couch and our therapy with Sam Amico. And then I go to you, Booby, because you've been there and done that. I have done it on the plane, and even just doing it on the plane, meaning the road trips, trust me, it's really, really bad. But the Caps lost to Orlando, got on a plane, flew to LA, played the Clippers, got on a plane, flew to Sacramento, played Sacramento, got on a plane, and flew to Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, put it to words. I mean, I'm getting you guys help today because it is not just as easy as I just rattled it all out.
No, absolutely. Like you mentioned it, dog days of the season, right? It's you play 82 games out of the year, and regardless of if we feel like the guys have been tailoring their minutes and bringing them down a little bit, there's still the wear and tear on your body. You still have everybody right now in the NBA is hurting physically, and I think everybody, all the fans need to know that, and that's where the rest days come in. But at the same token, if we're saying the team that we want to be at the end of the year is the last team standing, this is where that next level kicks in. This is where you understand, however my body feels, whatever's going on inside, mentally, I have what it takes to take it to another level. And so that's what I can say about those teams that I played with during the 09-08 year when we had those 66 wins. It was like, okay, we all feel terrible right now landing out here, but we have each other and we have this goal in mind that's way more important than how we feel. So that we'll see the resolve of this team, which we've saw all season long, and I feel like it'll be no different getting closer to the playoffs.
I know, by the way, the goal in mind has nothing to do with beating the best record in the regular season that the Cavs have in their history, or starting 15-0, or having the best record in the NBA. The goal of the season for anybody playing in a competitive sport is to play and win the last game of the season, which is the last game of the finals.
And back to that X factor point, I will say, when you mentioned like how guys are getting an opportunity now, so when their name is called in the playoffs, one of them seasons I was talking about, I wasn't getting, matter of fact, it might have been that rookie year, I wasn't getting a lot of minutes. And then LeBron set the last game of the season. And that game, I had probably one of my best games of the year because I got so many minutes. So going into the playoffs, I was just waiting for my opportunity to get on the floor. So I feel like, to your point, some of the guys will be waiting for their opportunity, but we're just such a loaded team. It's tough.
Now the Caps still, as we speak, have to finish the road trip and then come home for a quick, before they go out again for another back-to-back. We'll do one of Sam's favorite segments when we come back, which is when he gets to pull out his crystal ball and look into the future to see what's coming up for the Cavs next week, right here on Full Court Cleveland.